Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. This is Topic Tuesday, every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Central Time on the Myron J Show. So make sure y'all tune in. Let me know what y'all think. Leave a comment, like, share, follow, all that great stuff. So we got a great guest today, y'all, Miss Delila House. She is a leadership and mentorship coach. And she's on Facebook and on social media. And I've met her on social media through a mutual friend. And we was also on a virtual event together that she had going on with a few other great people. And it was a great show. It was a few months ago. Delilah, we got to do that again, by the way. I just want to throw that out there in front of everybody. So if you say yes and you don't do it, we coming for you. So we got her in the house with us today, man. So great to have her. Today's topic for Topic Tuesday is called self-care within relationships. So me and Delila team worked on this thing last night. We was thinking about it for like 20, 30 minutes trying to figure something out. Like we were going back and forth. And so she came up with the self-care part and the relationship part. I said, well, let's call it this. And we clicked on it. So here we are. Self-care within relationships. It is something that's very important that we don't talk enough about or think about, for that matter. So when we think about self-care, we're thinking about going to the nail, getting our nails done, manicure, pedicures, ladies, getting massages, that type of thing. But this time we're going to talk about it from a relationship standpoint. We're going to include all that good stuff as well, but we're going to talk about it from a relationship standpoint. So I would like to welcome my guest for today, Miss Delila House. How you doing? Tell us about yourself. Tell us about your life coaching business. Like, let's get to it.
Hey, Myron, thank you so much for having me on with you. You are going to stop calling me out in public. Like, we're going to not do that. Like, but no, we got to do that again. I have fun. I definitely have fun. I always have fun with them with you guys. So I am Delila House. I go by Delila Shante as the name of my business, life leadership and mentorship coach. So basically what I do is I help you with anything mindset, goals, self-care, anything that you have that's related to leadership or mentorship, helping you find the right mentor, mentee, whatever you're trying to do. So that's kind of what I do. And I think that's why self-care was kind of good for me, because I know you are the relationship coach and you always help people with their relationship. So let's talk about some self-care.
Yeah, we're going to tag team on this thing today. So it's going to be like a power couple type thing without the couple. You get what I'm trying to, you get what I'm going with that.
We get what you're going with.
I want nobody thinking that,
I know, you never know. What people think.
Exactly. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, please leave us a comment. I'm going to drop her information on how to find her on social media, her website, all that good stuff. And so we're going to make sure you guys get that information before we get off the show. So make sure y'all tune in on YouTube. If you listening on any podcast network, please, again, like I said earlier, like, share, follow, and let a friend know. Somebody might need this great information, these gems that we're going to drop today. So Delila, like I said earlier, we were talking about self-care and what self-care looks like when we're talking about taking care of ourselves, massages, manicures, pedicures. Maybe you might want to go shopping, a little retail therapy, as y'all like to call it. And so for a man might go and, go to the gym, not to say that women don't go, but men might go to the gym. They might get, some men get facials sometimes too. They get themselves together. They got a lot of self-care going on as well. So when you think about, or when we're talking about self-care and relationships, within relationships, what does that look like to you? What does that mean in your opinion?
Yeah, so definitely, most of the time we think about all those items as far as self-care. But when it comes to relationships, I really think it's all about, I usually break it down into 3 different ways. So spiritually, mentally, and physically when it comes to your relationship side. And a lot of times I think the biggest thing that we do is we don't give ourselves enough time to heal.
You gotta say that. You preach it now.
There you go. See, but like, I just don't think we give ourselves enough time to heal. And that is one of the biggest things about self-care. Like, are we mentally prepared to be in a relationship? Or do we need to step aside and do some self-care items? I know, like, we talked about it, and we talked about this between me and you. And then we also talked about it on the episode that you talked about, but sometimes you got to take breaks. Like you have to take breaks, even when you're dating. Now, if you're married, you can't take breaks. You
Got
can't
to
do it.
figure that out on your own, like how that's gonna work
Yeah,
out.
I mean, and I think like marriage is and self-care is totally different, but you still need self-care in a marriage. So I'm not saying that you don't have that opportunity. You just can't take the break part. So when you're single and like out here is not the same as out here once was. So you have to take some breaks. You got to go back in and make sure that you are taking care of yourself.
So I know we was talking last night when we were going over a few things. It's like when you're single, it's like single's not single like it was back in the day,
No.
And if you're in a relationship and if you can work that relationship out and it's not if it's nothing that's harming you or the other person physically or mentally, and it's something that you can pretty much handle, stay in a relationship. This is not what y'all want out here. I'm telling you, the single life, this is not what you guys want. So, and so you said something about healing, and that's another thing that we don't always like try to do when we get out of relationships or marriages or whatever the case may be. We're always going from one relationship to the next, and we're not healing. And to us, we're thinking like we're okay. There's nothing wrong with us. And if you think about it, it really is, because you're going to take some of those emotions and those feelings and those toxic ways and everything else that you learned in the other relationship, and you're going to take it over to your next relationship. Now you're harming somebody else that's probably at peace and trying to do what they need to do to be a better person, and they already happy already. So here you come with your baggage and everything else because you're not emotionally available, number one, and then number two, you're still toxic because of all the toxic relationships or the things that you've gone through. So when do you heal? Like, what time do you heal? And so you say you break it down to like 3 steps, like physical, mentally, and spiritually. Tell us a little bit about those steps and how you look at it, and what that definition is for you for each one of those.
So I think you brought up a good point. Like we go from one relationship to the next relationship, right? And I think that's what we were taught. Like, oh, if you're over that person, go to the next person. Some
Yeah.
people always say like,
Just to get over that person. Yeah, we got to
right,
go
like
to.
the way to get over one person is go to another person, and that's absolutely not the correct way. And I think if we learned that a long time ago, some of us might be like in a better place right now. But as far as your definitions of those, so spiritually, for me, I am a believer, right? God is in the center of everything I do. So you have to make sure that you're spiritually set and you have set those boundaries for yourself spiritually before you get into a relationship. Because trust me, they will get tested. And whatever boundaries you may have, they're going to get tested. And then mentally, do you even know what your triggers are? Like, what are your triggers from your last relationship? And I know we'll probably get into this, but a lot of times I think even if you take time to like really take care of yourself, when you jump back into a relationship, that trigger may pop up like second, third date with someone. And then you're like, okay, I thought I was over that, but I'm really not. And of course, physically, we really have to eat better. We have to exercise. This is where I can just be honest and say I'm the worst, right? Like exercise is not my strong point. I'm not that exercise accountability partner. But I think physically, we also have to take care of ourselves because we're so stressed out and that, we are having heart attacks and strokes at such a younger age. And if we just take that time to take care of ourselves physically, then that helps us out along the way. So that's how I kind of break them down with the definition between each one of them. But for me, like it just depends on which one is more important to you. For some people, the spiritual aspect is not as important. The physical aspect is not as important. You have some people who the physical aspect of it is like their top thing, and that's how they get through other things. And it's not saying that either one is right or wrong. It's just making sure you do at least one of them and you're trying to work on yourself.
So I'm glad you brought that up, especially with the physical part of it. So I'm gonna start there. We're both on TikTok, and I see a lot of videos on TikTok. And I'm always seeing this trend where a lady, and some guys do it also. And the trend, I can't think of the music they play with it, but they always say that I was the woman or man that she or he didn't want, so I became that person that she or he can't get. That got to be the most. That is so crazy to me. And I read comments because I learn from other people. You know what I'm saying? I'm always learning every day from other people, how people think, the way they move. the way they carry themselves and what they feel about certain topics and situations. And I've seen a lot of people say that, well, why is it like a motivation? Like whenever you're done with a relationship or things don't go well, why is that a motivation to get better or to do better? Why wasn't that done within the relationship? And also, if that's something that could have saved that relationship, why you didn't do it at the time? And then the other aspect of that is, or on the flip side of that is as well, what I want to call the flip side is, we have to, when you get into relationships, people tend to like get comfortable. They get content. There's no self-care anymore. They either gaining weight or they're losing weight. And so, and they're gaining weight because, like I said, they're comfortable. They got they got their man, they got their woman. They feel like they ain't got to do nothing else anymore, or they're losing weight due to stress or being drained from toxic relationships, and they're not taking care of themselves mentally. And that goes into the, you said, the mental aspect of it, as well as the physical aspect of it. And then if you get into the spiritual aspect of what you just said, with your last step rather, if you're in a relationship where, and you should know this going into a relationship, but you're in a relationship where you're not spiritually where you used to be because of this other person. This person don't like it when you pray as too much, or they don't want to go to church, or they don't believe in God, whatever the situation may be. Like, that's not the person that you want to be with. Anybody that's going to take you away from God, especially if that's your belief, then that's not the person that you need to be with. You need to find somebody that's actually going to be on the same level as you, and that's going to be equally yoked. That's my little rant for a second. I just want to throw that out there. What's your thoughts on that? Anything I just said, what's your thoughts on it?
I think two things. So the first thing you said, like, hey, I wasn't the person they wanted, so I became the person that they can't have or whatever. I think that happens in a multitude of ways. Mm-hmm. One, sometimes you're in a relationship with someone, and then maybe when both of you got in the relationship, like the physical part, as far as like exercising and things like that, was not an interest of either one of you. Right. But maybe one person picked it up and the other person just wasn't, at that mode, of doing things. And so I think you have to be careful on that aspect of it. But we ultimately, if we're actually trying to heal, the self-care shouldn't be being someone that person can't have. It should just really be being a better you. And I think when it comes to exercising, we all like, oh, we break up with someone, oh, I'm gonna go exercise and let me be cute. So now I'm cute, I can go out here, or I'm handsome now, I can go out here and I can, be on the scene. And so I think that's like a motivator. And a lot of times the motivation, even though it may seem like it's coming from the ex, it really is coming from the people, the future people that you're looking at, because you're looking at other people who are like if we take it back to TikTok, like if you look at videos of females and males, everybody is exercising. So, sometimes you can get that perception of, hey, if I'm going to talk to somebody or someone's going to look my way, I got to look like this. And I mean, ultimately, you may not be able to look like that. I mean, I think you should be healthy, but, and you should look the best that you can, but you may not be cut like everybody else. Now, you can do things and you can alter in ways if that's what you choose to do. Right. But if you're not happy with you, if you're not doing self-care, that physical part means nothing, because you can be the cutest person in the world or the best looking guy in the world, and mentally you can be all the way messed up. And so you're still not going to be ready for the next relationship.
Right. Because it starts in the mind. It's everything is a mind thing. Whenever you're trying to go back to the gym or you're trying to find peace, you're trying to get back to the point where you start to know God and all that great stuff. It's like it starts in the mind. So you have to, if you want consistency, you definitely have to pray about it, because that's what I do to get myself together and going to the gym every day. I pray for consistency, because I know it can easily go left at any moment, at any time. So I have to make sure I stay on top of everything. So, and you just hope people, whenever you're in relationships, at the end of the day, and this is what I want to say. I got off for a sec. This is what I want to say. You said something about the whole working out and being physical. It might not be what people care about in the beginning, but they do later on. I'm glad you brought that up, because people change. People change every day, every month, every week. You're not the same person that you were last week, last month, last year. And so people change. And I made a video on TikTok concerning that, about staying in tune with your significant other, because people change. You gotta be able to know when they're down and when they're not feeling their best, or when they're excited, or what excites them as well. Because everybody may not verbally state those things to you. So you have to sometimes you have to pay attention to that. So and which is always good. Like I said, people change all the time. So if you're in a relationship and we're talking about self-care and that type of thing, if I was the person that's to start working out, what will be and I want to start taking care of myself, and that's part of my self-care. Or if I want to start meditating, or I want to start praying, what would be your reaction if a man was to change something? If you're in a relationship and the man was to change some things along the way, because like I said, people change all the time, and do you encourage it? Do you motivate it? Do you join him? Like, don't get on here lying now, because people watching you. I want you to be
No, I think
your future boyfriend and husband might be out there, so don't.
you do me so wrong, Myron. But I mean, no, I'm actually I tell my friends all the time. Like, I have friends that are married. I'm like, you have to continue dating. So I can't, like, if whoever, because I want you to do that for me. Like, let's say maybe I decide, hey, I want to try something new. Are you going to support me? Now, I'm not just saying like something crazy, of course, but maybe that person has, had a medical condition and they're like, okay, I need to start taking care of myself. Like, why would you continue to, if you're in the same house cooking certain foods and stuff and they can't eat it? Like, why would you do that? I think that some of those things are just, I know that people don't do it, but you have to support each other, because ultimately, if you really love someone or you love the person you with, I mean, that's why you're with them. You're there to support as well. So no, for me, as long as it's nothing crazy. Now, I can't just do no crazy stuff with you. Because you also have to think about how that other person is. Like, for me, I have a chronic disorder called fibromyalgia. I can't do some of the same things that other people do. So for me, exercise is a little bit different. And so I think sometimes people don't think about that, because maybe you see me and you don't know that, or you can't tell that. But it's one of those invisible disorders that people have. So you have to think about that kind of stuff. So as long as that person understands, like, hey, like, she's going to be supportive, but this is her limit on it, not because that's what she wants to do, but because that's what she can do, then I think we're good. But because I have things that I need them to understand as well, right? So no, for me, I'm supportive on that. Like, now, if sometimes, dudes have those standards of, I work out a lot, so I need the person I'm with to work out.
Yeah, they do.
That's probably not my dude, because I'm not going to work out like that with you.
Them gym rats want you to do the same thing that they're doing, and want you to be consistent and go all out and all that, which is okay, but do you agree that when a person shifts or start changing some things, and like, again, we're talking about self-care within relationships, and before you get in relationships as well, we can go there also. So a conversation should be had, like you're stating right now. Okay, well, babe, I'm with you. I support you. I'm gonna motivate you. I'm gonna encourage you, but I'm not going to the gym, or I'm not a meditating type of person. Whatever their self-care might be. So conversation should be had. I'll support you all day, but at the same time, you do hope that at some point that particular person, cross on over, I guess, or to join you. I mean, that'll be great. That'll be a dope thing to do, right? But a conversation should be had to the point where, because if I can't expect, if I go to the gym all the time, I can't expect you to all of a sudden go as well. I can only hope that at some point you join me. You feel like the need, hey, babe, I want to work out too. Can you show me? Can you teach me? Can we do it together? Because I mean, what best person to go to and to be with than the person that you're in a relationship with? That's you get free training, meal preps, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, but go ahead.
I've had that type of relationship, where the person was, they were over the top with working out. And I shouldn't say over the top, but that was their passion. Okay. But other things came with that I had to respect. And I was okay with that. Like, they like to get up super early, so they needed to go to sleep early. So I respected that point, and though sometimes it's that type of support. Like, hey, I may can go to the gym with you in the evening time, but I can't go with you in the morning or in the evening. Yeah. Like, it's some of those dedications, because I may have something different that I'm passionate about that's happening during that time that you're doing your passion. And so I really think it's about some of the other things of like as supporting as well. Like how do I help you make yourself better in this situation? How do I make you, feel like I'm supporting you? And also like how do I make sure that you feel like I'm respecting what you're doing versus me saying, okay, well, why are you at the gym all the time? Or, and then I still don't want to go because, that happens. Like, if you're asking that question, then you just go to the gym, right? And so, or maybe you go to the gym with them, but you may not work out as hard. Maybe they work out 2 hours, you work out an hour. Like so I think it's about communication and compromise when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Which is, it's funny. When I was in a relationship, I'll say back in the day, back in my day, I used to go to the gym all the time, and I literally, when I got home, I literally asked why I wasn't sweating. Like, I mean, I just didn't work out as much as I did the other day. What you mean? Like, I don't know. They thought I was cheating or something or whatever. But I was literally at the gym, like down the street, maybe like 10 minutes away. So, but I just want to throw that out there. You just made me think of that. It was real funny.
Yeah, you just gotta be careful on like what kind of questions you asking them to get those questions back, right? So I mean, I see questions sometimes. I mean, I get it sometimes, but it's really all about, honestly, it's about the communication and respect from each other. Like you dish out what you want. Like if you can't take it, don't dish that out.
Yeah, but I didn't ask any questions. I just walked in the house and I just got the question like, why are you not sweating? Now, ever since then, I got to make sure I sweat before I go home. I got to pour some water on me or something.
Just glistening on your head and stuff.
Yeah, put up some water in my shirt or something. I don't know, man. Just waste some water on purpose on me or something. So I won't have to be questioned or something like, man, what I do? I mean, I thought I was doing good. But anyway, I just want to throw that out there because it was because you brought it up and it was kind of funny to me. Now you bring it up old trauma and stuff, but whatever.
It's like you have self-care, you gotta heal. You gotta think about those.
That's why I buy self healed now. I'm better now, so I'm good. That was like years ago, so we ain't gonna go back there. But anyway, so when we talk about self-care, we're always talking about making sure that we are together, I guess you can say, for lack of a better word. I guess we saying that we are together, that we're good to go on all levels. We can't fall off. We can't get into these relationships thinking that I got my man, I got my woman now. I don't have to go work out no more. I don't have to look nice. I don't have to get my nails done or my hair cut, whatever things may be. But you still have to keep yourself up and keep yourself going, not with just the materialistic stuff or the physical, but the mental as well. And so when we talk about self-care within relationships, we're talking about peace. Also, that's part of your mental. Not walking on eggshells every time every time you come home or every time you try to have a conversation with your significant other. That's not self-care. You're not taking care of yourself mentally because you're stressed out and you're draining yourself. Would you think the same or like how would you look at that?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I think one of the biggest things when we really look at self-care should make sure that you're fulfilling yourself and that you're happy yourself. So therefore, when you go in a relationship, you don't have to worry about that. And I think sometimes we have to be careful, like if we're stopping these things when we get into a relationship, were we doing that for us or were we doing that to attract someone? Or, so that's one of those things you think about, because for me, like, don't ask me if I'm gonna get my hair done. I'm gonna get my nails done. Like, this is what I'm gonna do because this makes me feel good. Whether I'm with you or I'm not with you, like this makes me feel good.
Yeah.
When it comes to self-care, if you're in a relationship and you say, oh, okay, wait. Like my pant size is not the same. That should say, hey, maybe I need to look at this a little bit. But I think that's you. I mean, a lot of times we focus so much on what that other person says to us.
I'm on with it. Yes, ma'am.
Like, hey, that person is, but you that's how they met you. And I'm not saying people won't change over time because people do change, but it's just certain things. Like you shouldn't be like, I hear people say a lot of times, like, oh, I got married and things went out the window. Yeah. Like the guy said I do, it was totally different. And it shouldn't be like that, Yeah,
like I said earlier, they get comfortable, they get content. I got my man, I got my woman. I'm good now. Put my feet up on the table. Have me a little drink, a little wine or something. I'm good. I don't need to do nothing else. But it doesn't work like that. Like, however you got them, you gotta keep that. You gotta keep it going. You gotta keep it going. You gotta keep it moving. Like you said earlier, going on date nights. even when you're married, you know what I'm saying? When you're married as well, there's no different from with the whole self-care deal from being married to being in a relationship to being married. You still got to keep yourself going. I'm so glad that you said that was real profound. Like you got to make sure that you're happy. Self-care is making sure that you're happy, make sure that you're at peace, making sure that you are good with yourself, with or without someone. Because
Yeah.
if your happiness and your peace have to come from somebody else, then it's gonna be a long road, long journey for you of healing and getting better. So that was real good. I
Yeah,
wish
and
about that.
it's not, and a lot of people say like it's not easy sometimes, like to
Oh,
just be
no.
by yourself, right? Like it's that's nobody is saying that, but I feel like when you can take that break and be by yourself, you don't put up with the same things in a relationship, or you're not treated the same way. And because self-care makes you have boundaries. And if you don't have those boundaries, like nobody has anything for you to respect, for them to respect. Like they have to have the boundaries there. And I think a lot of times, most of the time when we think about spiritual self-care, most people are like, oh, okay, so they're, they're not having sex or that type of thing. It's so many other things. Like if you say that you believe in God and that's where you want your relationship to go and you want your relationship with him to grow, then now, if you're not married already, like why are you dating outside of that? Like how is that gonna put a strain on your relationship? Like how is that gonna be a distraction for you? Like those are boundaries that you have to set. It's not just about, like, especially with the spiritual, it's just not about sex. Same thing mentally. What type of boundaries are you gonna have mentally? Like if someone is pushing you in a corner, like do you know how to get out of it? And when it comes to a relationship, or do you not? Like, so those are the type of things that you kind of have to make sure you have for yourself.
Yes, man. Y'all heard Miss House. Well, y'all heard what Miss House said. Write this stuff down. We ain't gonna say it twice now. Write it down. Go play this whole thing back. This is good. So let's talk about this. What about how do you feel about counseling/therapy? Because do you see that as part of self-care within relationships, before the relationship and the marriage? Like, how do you view counseling or therapy, depending on however you want to use it?
I definitely believe in it. I think that, I'm a firm believer. Yes, you have your pastor, but you need your therapist too. And so for me, like I've been to therapy, go to therapy, and I don't go to like, a Christian. Well, I'm not gonna say she's not Christian, but like a lot of times people are like, oh, you need to go to the church therapy sessions. I'm not saying you have to go there. You go to whoever makes you comfortable. You date your therapist as well. Like date them to figure out if they're good for you or not. Like however they're interacting with you, is that going to work for you or is it not going to work for you?
I like that.
And I think you have to understand who you are. And it can be uncomfortable because you can find out that you're struggling with things that you thought had something to do with the relationship when maybe it was really something from your childhood. And you really need to, open those doors. You don't want to sometimes, but you have to make sure you're a better person. You know what you're looking for then.
I like that. Date your therapist. Never heard that. Never heard it put that way before, but that makes so much sense because just like you out here dating, trying to see who's right for you, you need to date to see what therapist is right for you, because everybody is not, right for everybody. And we talk about spirituality and God and stuff earlier. That's another thing you need to pray about. Like, God, just send me the right person for this. We pray for a good man and good woman, right? Why we can't? I mean, I'm just saying now. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. If we praying for that, can we pray for like a good therapist, a good counselor, whatever? Can we do the same thing? And so, and I'm always advocating for therapist and going to counseling. I did it for like 6 months. I'm going to go back at some point. And we have to understand that there is nothing wrong with going to therapy or getting or counseling, because it's all about self-improvement, all about wanting to do better and be a better you. It's not necessarily saying that something is wrong with you. Everybody can benefit from counseling. I don't care how good you think that you are or how perfect you think that you are. Everybody can benefit from counseling some kind of way. And like you stated earlier, there's some childhood traumas that is going on that's there also that we don't even know about. And that childhood trauma could affect us with our self-care as well within our relationships, even our friendships and our marriages. And we're not understanding why we are a certain way, why we got attitude, why we so quick to get mad about certain things, why we want things our way, all that kind of crazy stuff, or why we kind of like fold, I guess you'd say, when certain situations or topics come up. And we don't know. And it's something from your childhood, it's something from past relationships, but yet we kind of ignore those things and we keep going. So I'm always trying to like, hey man, go to therapy. I got a couple of shirts. I was gonna put it on, but I'm trying to be more professional. But I got a couple of shirts in the room, you know, that says go to therapy. And my therapy sessions are dope and all the other kind of stuff. So, or I got one shirt that says healing. And so that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? But all of that is part of your self-care when you're in relationships or marriages. But let me tell you this.
Uh-oh.
You can't. Come on, man. Listen. Hey, don't throw me off. I'm on the move right now. Don't throw me off. No, you're okay. But let me tell you this. You cannot seek healing from the same person that has damaged you. You cannot seek healing from the same person. If a person, let me tell you how somebody explained it to me. There's no point in me going to therapy or counseling if I'm going to go right back to that same person that I was with, that got me there in the first place. Especially if they're not going as well. If we're in a relationship, and I'm the owner of somebody going to therapy and counseling to make sure that I'm good, make sure that I'm better, I'm going to go right back home and get back into some more. It's never going to work. That's just like me going to an AA meeting. No offense to nobody that goes to those. That's like me going to an AA meeting, trying to get better. But I go back and hang around with the guys that I was there for in the first place. Like, why go back and hang around those same people that were doing all the drinking? And it's probably where I started from. And they got all the drinks and all the liquor and all the stuff there. Every time I go to their house, why go over there? And I'm just getting out of these meetings. So you can't seek help and healing from the same people that damaged you, that got you in that situation in the first place. So I just want to say that I'm not telling nobody to leave their significant other. I'm not putting that out there. Well, I'm not saying that, but hey, do what you will with this information. Just put it that way. Do what you will with this information. I just want to drop some gems and some information, some advice, and Delila laughing. So I'm trying to see what she got to say about what I just said. So
You know, what you said was very interesting. It was very true in so many ways. And the other thing, I think I saw this post the other day. You can't lie to your therapist and think your therapist can help you. Like, you can't just go in there and say, like, you know, I was like, this is like the realest post ever, because so many people go into, you know, their counseling session or therapy session and you're lying to the person. Like, how are they going to help you if you're not honest? Like, you have to be willing to be vulnerable. And I am, you know, especially like if you're in a marriage, like both people need to go to counseling. And you can't, like, one person can't always say, well, they're not doing it, so I'm not going to do it. Like, then nobody's going to do it. Like, when is, you know, somebody has to take that step. And a lot of times, you know, even if, you know, I've had this conversation before. So if you're praying and asking God, like, hey, make me better for this situation, because especially if you're married, that's the other thing. Like, you can't be asking God to make that other person better when you're not looking and seeing what is, you know, what's going on with you. Like, you should be asking him to make you better and not the other person, right? And so, and sometimes you can do all of this stuff and it still doesn't work out. And that doesn't mean you're a bad person. That doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just didn't work out. And so you have to be willing to know, like, hey, I'm going to do everything I need to do to make this work. And if it doesn't, I did everything that I needed to do to make it work. And so, like, yeah, I completely agree, you know, in so many ways that, and plus you just can't lie to them.
Yeah. Hey,
it's not easy
right there. That blessed me right there. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a couple things like what you said. Like, first one you said about the whole lying to your therapist. Like, why would you go in there and lie to your therapist? Like, how is this person going to help you and you're going there lying to them, or you're not being fully truthful to that particular person? Like, these people are here to help you to get to be a better person and to figure some things out. You came to them. So you came to them, you paid your money, you signed a contract, confidentiality contract, and you still went in there and lied to them because you're scared of being judged, or you don't want to be vulnerable. That was therapy is all about. Therapy is not, it's not no cakewalk now. You know, it get messy and look kind of little nasty, I guess you could say, before it gets better. Yeah. And that's just how healing works as well. So That's real good. And the other thing you said, people be praying for somebody else to be better and to do better and all the other stuff. But we need to be doing that for ourselves.
Yeah.
And in saying that, because I used to do that when I was married. By the way, I used to be married, y'all, for 3 years. I've been divorced for 4 years now, but I'm by myself. But anyway, because I used to do that. I used to do that because I wanted my marriage to work so bad. I'm pretty sure she did as well, but we wasn't equally yoked. We wasn't on the same page. And I used to pray for us, and rightfully so. That's what you should do. I used to pray for her, seeing where I was coming from and change some things around in her life. But then I had to start thinking about, let me start praying for myself, especially once I got older, and the things that I have written down for myself now, because I write, I journal and everything. And the things that I have written down that I'm trying to manifest, I'm manifesting a better me, and definitely the man that I want to be for my next wife, the wife that God has for me, the real one. So people laugh when I said it was my real wife. But anyway, so that's what I'm praying for. I start praying for me. I'm start working on me, on my healing, mentally, physically, spiritually. I'm working financially. I'm working on me because I want to be a better person than I was years ago, to my ex-wife, to the girlfriend that I had over time. I want to be a better person because I can only fix me. I can't fix nobody else. Yeah, I can pray for that person to get better and understand some things, but like you just said, it starts with you. You got to make sure that you're okay, and make sure that you are right for the next person. And that goes back to another thing that you said earlier, how people go from relationship to relationship and they're not healed, they're not better, they're toxic, they're damaging other people because they're damaged and they're hurt. And like you said, we talked to, in order to get over one person, you got to go to the next. It sounds good back in the day, but when you grow up, I'm gonna tell you something, man. When you grow up and you get older and wiser, and you start thinking about life a little bit more, you start thinking about people, you just want peace, stability. You know what I'm saying? You want to be financially stable, and you just want them to like stay out the way. That's all you want once you grow older. But that's just my other little rant. But go ahead. I just have to say that.
And I think
You blessing me today.
and I think that because we know this now, like it's our responsibility to teach the generations behind us. Like we shouldn't say that because we know that doesn't work. So we shouldn't say that. We should encourage them. Take some time. Like you don't have to do that. Like you don't have to have, like, in high school and stuff, it was like, oh, if you were the most popular girl, you should be dating the most popular guy. Just all these things, like
kind of stuff. Yeah.
If that's not what you want to do right now, like don't do that. Like, take time to do what you want to do, to figure out what you want to do. And you won't be, in your 30s and your 40s trying to figure a lot of stuff out because you've already figured it out. And so I think it's important that like we go back and teach the next generation those type of things, the things that we saw. And it's not saying that, our parents and our aunts and uncles and our older siblings didn't, love us. That's what they knew. That was the wisdom that they had. And because we know something different, now it's our responsibility to do something different. And like you said, therapy is scary. Like I literally told my therapist one day, I don't really like you, but and she just laughed at me. And I knew she knew where I was coming from, but she broke me to a place that I had never been broken before. So it made me look at things that I never looked at for myself. And when I started to look at them, things started to change for me. And some people say, oh, you changed. It's not that I changed. I felt like at some point I was pretending to be someone that I was not. Right. And so now this is who I am. And who I am is who I am. And if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And that's kind of, how it is. I can't be something for someone else and not be me for myself.
I told my therapist something similar one time. I said, look, I really ain't even started to call you today. Like for real, I started to count this. I started counting this session because I really didn't feel like being bothered. Like mentally, I didn't feel like being bothered. Like I was just, and she was just, same thing you did, kind of laughed or whatever. They used to this kind of stuff. They know everybody don't like, going to therapy and counseling or counseling. They know that people being their feelings or emotional about some stuff. So, but at the end of the day, you got to be honest with yourself when you're talking about going to therapy and counseling, because again, like I said earlier, that's a form of self-care. It's a form of taking care of yourself mentally, Because if you're not good mentally, then how are you able to make sure that people are around you is good? Because some people may not want to be around you at some point. And if you got kids, if you're not mentally healthy, then you're affecting more than yourself. You're affecting your kids and the people that's there also. So this is good. Is there anything else you would like to add to today's show? Because you on fire today. You dropping some gems and everything. You blessing me today. Like for real, I got a little chill on here. I don't know if it's because the air conditioner on what, but
You're out. You're okay. I think the only thing I would add about self-care, and I think this is if you're in a relationship or if you're single, is we talk about like, hey, those trips and things like that are not self-care, but I do also think it's important for you to unplug from certain things. And whether that's like, dating, if that's your job, if that's like whatever it is, like if you're married, how about you take a couples trip like once a quarter? So now you guys are unplugging, you're kind of spending time with each other and you're scheduling these items because now you have to do this. And it's not something you just keep putting on the back burner, like, right? But those type of things are important, especially like for married couples, because that's how you continue to date each other. You continue to know each other. And just think if you're unplugging, and I'm not saying that you don't have to take like these, the most expensive trip ever. It could just be a weekend away. It could just be like if you can't even afford a weekend away, maybe you just go on dates the whole weekend, right? Yeah. So but just having that time where you unplug from other things. And then if you're single, stop doing everything for everybody else around you. Just because, people think because you're single, and especially if you're single with no kids, that you got time to do everything.
Yeah.
And that's really not the case. Like you're trying to do other stuff for yourself. Like it's not the case. So make sure you take time to unplug and schedule those times out and hold yourself to it so that you can make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And also since you brought it up, being single, you still have to take care of yourself. Go date yourself. Go out, have a great time. I mean, have a ball. You hear me? Go out there and date yourself. Take yourself out to eat. Go to movies. Go to a rooftop event or something. I don't know. Just go and take care of yourself. Live your life and love yourself. And just make sure that you're happy and make sure that you're emotionally available for when you get into relationships. Because once you're taking care of yourself, or while you're taking care of yourself, and this man, woman, whomever, while you're taking care of yourself on all levels, God is preparing that significant other, that person for you. It's going to come when you least expect it while you're working on yourself. But don't get so deeply involved to it that you're going to run them off. You don't know what's going on. But anyway, I just want to throw that out there. Delila House, y'all, leadership and mentorship coach. I definitely appreciate you for coming on. So this is what I like to do. Go ahead and let everybody know how they can find you on social media. So email address, all that good stuff.
So I am at Delila Shante on all social media sites, Facebook, IG, TikTok, all of those are at Delila Shante. For my people who want to do LinkedIn, I'm at Delila House. My email is delila@delilashante.com. And then my website is delilashante.com. And that is DELILASHANTEA. So I know, like some people are like, how do you spell that? But you can always find me out there on the social media world.
And you're located in Mississippi, right?
I am now back in Mississippi. I am.
In Mississippi, my hometown, Mississippi. So thank you so much for being a part of this great show, man. You really definitely gave me some good stuff, like blessed me. So I'm knowing when everybody else hear this great and funny and very informational episode that they're going to love it too. So if y'all are listening or watching on YouTube, make sure y'all drop us comments, like, share, follow. I'm going to put your information in the description as well, so people can make sure that people can go and look for you and look you up also. So is there anything else that you got coming up that we should know about?
Right now, I am actually doing a boot camp. It's called Friend I Got You Mentoring on Purpose. So that is going to be the rest of September and probably October. I think I'll do another one in October as well. I have 3 books out. My latest one just came out, Walking in Love. And so that was one of the episodes that you were on, which I so love because that is really all about self-care for me. And so just always find me on social media. I am, if you need leadership, mentorship, coaching, you can always reach out to me as well.
So you're an author. So we need to add that to the list of leadership and mentorship coach. You're a published author 3 times. Author. We forgot about that. We didn't talk about that. Okay. So real quick, I mean, we got time. You got time? Do you got time?
I got time.
Okay, cool. Let us know about the books. Like, how's the book going? What's the book's about? Where they can get it from? Like, tell us everything. So, because we're trying to promote this thing, we want to see you successful out here.
So I am a 3-time author. So I have a devotional called Friend, I Got You. That is like just my passion, my heart, just really supporting people. All of my books are actually on Amazon and on my website. I do suggest you go to my website first. In Command is another book I'm a co-author of. It's really about people standing on top of their stories. It has a lot of information about therapy in there for me, self-care, how I developed that self-care and why I needed to. And then the latest one is Walking in Love. I'm the visionary author of that one. So I do have some co-authors with me. And that is all about walking in love. But those are like, it's walking in love with God. So it's walking in love with God, your family, your friends, even your enemies, and then the church. And there are some very, very powerful stories in there of how people got over different things just because they simply chose to walk in love instead of, not forgiving and hating someone else.
That is awesome. So you got 3 books. I only have 1, so I'm 2 behind. I'm working on the ebook, but whatever, I'm behind. I get caught up one day, so I'm gonna match you with 3.
Listen, it's not about that, right? It's
I know it's all love. I just love to see it. I wasn't even planning on being an author, but here I am, and I love it. I really appreciate it. Now you said something I gotta ask since you brought it up. Walking in love, even with your enemies. Please explain that. Somebody need that. Somebody
need it. So I think a lot of times, now I'm not saying that you got to go over here and be friends with the person, right. But you got to forgive people, right? Like you need to forgive. You're not necessarily forgiven for them. You're forgiven for yourself. Sometimes we're holding grudges against people. They don't even know why we're holding grudges against them. And if truly you ask yourself, you may not even know why you're holding a grudge against them at the moment. You just, you're just upset with them. And so many different people can kind of fall in line with that enemies. It depends on who you look at it that way, but we have to forgive people. And that's what that one is really all about. You have people who are divorced and co-parenting and they don't really get along with their that ex-significant other. And you have friendships that are broken up and now you consider that person an enemy. Like, what are you even mad about? Like, are you, so go back and think about some of those things, and choose the love. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that the relationship has to be mended, but the forgiveness has to happen.
Definitely. And that's what I say all the time. And that's my slogan: forgive and live. You can't live a full life. You can't live the life that God wants you to have, or your best life, if you're still holding on to everything that Delila just said. So you got to forgive and live, y'all. That's my slogan. That's why I tell everybody at the end of the show. So forgive and live. If y'all don't remember anything else, please do that. Not for them, but for you. Have peace with yourself at the end of the day. That's what it's all about. So Delila, give us something. This is how I like to end the show. Give us some kind of encouraging words, some kind of motivation, some kind of advice, something that you probably go by every day. What would that be, or what would that look like for you?
I think for me is create boundaries to make your self-care work. And then take breaks when you need breaks. Mentally when you're drained, so go fill yourself back up. You can't fill other people up. You can't pour and give to other people if you're not mentally ready to do that. So make sure you're taking care of yourself mentally and give yourself those breaks and those boundaries.
There y'all go. Miss Delila House, thank you so much again for joining me on Topic Tuesday, each and every Tuesday at 11 a.m. So if you're on lunch break, you want to check out a great show, please tune in. YouTube, Spotify. Make sure y'all like, share, follow, comment. And that's it for us. We're going to get on out of here. Thank y'all so much for joining us. We'll see y'all soon. Thank you. Bye.